is here, and she is the reason why we're broadcasting you. Basically, she taught us how to do these dog and pony tricks. But I've got with me Daniel DeJong here. Daniel,
Nice
all
to see
right,
you
and John
again.
Gregorowich here, two friends of our museum. There's John, former docent, Smithsonian Air and Space Museum. You got a question about that? Ask him. I'll ask you a question real quick. And Daniel here, put his name up there, Marty, captain of Spirit Airlines. He's a beautiful man, a great friend. We've been knowing each other for almost 4 years, probably.
Something like
Did
that.
you come to
Yeah.
Shuttle Fest 1?
No, I was at two.
At 2.
2, 3, and 1.
Did you go last year?
4.
He was at 4 last year,
Mm.
and Greg is John is a good friend of Mitch Rothman, and that's how we met you. You got your man space button on there. And I am just like a pig in the trough, man. Okay, having great friends like you guys come in and stop in. Uh, and Marty, this is as our board member and part of this for 6 years. It's kind of always in the back of my mind. Why isn't this museum a clubhouse for people just to come and hang out and know that Mark and Marty's going to be here and great space lovers like you guys. So we're going to kick it off with that. We're going to just do one little, just first. What's it like out there with Artemis fever? You were out to Space Center the last 2 days, you said, Daniel.
Yeah, it's exciting. There's things at the Space Center that are not normally there. You walk out to the Atlantis building and you see all these engineer representatives from all the companies that are involved with Artemis 2, including all the representatives from the Cube satellites. That are
The Cube satellite, something we will talk about maybe tomorrow when we're trying to do a live broadcast from Spaceview Park. But I didn't have but yeah, tell us about the Cube satellites there.
so, so I believe there's one from Germany. I kind of rushed through that section a little bit. I talked to representatives from the Argentinian Space Agency, the Saudis, their space agency, and the South Koreans are there with a satellite.
Are these in the European service module and going to be released in Earth orbit or translunar orbit or?
They're where they are exactly. I don't know.
Okay.
They're going to be released in low Earth orbit.
Low Earth orbit. And I
Yeah.
watched NASA's got all kinds of stuff to explain this mission. We're not. We're just going to kind of touch some highlights today. We got one astronaut birthday. I got a significant moon story to tell you. But John, where do you tell us quickly where you live?
I live in Michigan.
Yep. He lives in Michigan.
It's Southeast Michigan.
Yeah. So you're a Spirit Airlines pilot.
That's right.
All right.
Based in Detroit.
Well, maybe you work for a better airlines. You could live in Ohio. Okay.
Oh, sick, bro. Visit my hometown, Wichita, Air Capital.
That's right. All right, but you're a native of the Netherlands. Your wife is Ukrainian. You and I talked at lunch about the war over there. It's a real thing, people. You better believe it. You told me about seeing bombs explode and your building shaking where your wife lives.
Yeah. When it's going on, and sometimes you see the explosions outside. It's a very large building where we live. Somewhere from anywhere from 17 to 24 stories high, depending on where you're in the building.
This is in Kiev.
Yeah, and the whole thing, it's like a small earthquake sometimes if it's close enough.
Mm-hmm. With all things going in the world, don't forget this, okay? This is still going on, and imagine your neighborhood wherever you live, like Detroit or Cleveland or something like that. You're witnessing it being attacked. It's something, isn't it?
It has become part of life. It's been gone over 4 years now, so we're kind of used to it.
Well, thanks for that insight into
Yeah.
it. And I think about you guys a lot. Of course, STS-87 with our friend Winston Scott had the only Ukrainian astronaut.
Leonid Kadanyuk.
Leonid Kadanyuk, yes, on there. And Winston talks a lot about him at his talks I've seen there. John Gregorowich, tell us where you grew up and where you're at and how you become a space nut.
I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland. I currently live just north of there in Bel Air. I have been interested in the space program since I was 5 or 6 years old and started watching the launches on TV. Walter Cronkite, I'm sure everybody's familiar with him. When I was old enough and was still interested, I brought my family to the Cape, and we saw a shuttle launch. It was a night launch. It was incredible. I was fortunate enough to enroll in the docent program at the Kennedy Space Center, and I was accepted, and I was a docent there for about 10 years and had a lot of fun doing that. Met a lot of interesting people. You learn a lot every day from the people that you're taking on tours and from other people that work there. So I really enjoyed that.
Well, good to have you here. And I met you a couple times here, like I said, through Mitch Rothman. And Mitch is going to be on our board of directors at the American Space Museum. And I, pinched me, but I had to take a phone call from Bob Seek, who launched 51 shuttles. And he was asking me about somebody that we're also recommending for the board on there. And Bob is going to get more active on this program, Marty. It's our fault that we don't ask him enough. But Bob's going to be watching the launch with Mike Leinbach, who launched the last 31 shuttles. They're going to be on the roof of the LCC, Marty.
Right.
And you know what Bob Seek said to me, who launched 51 shuttles? He said, Mark, I've never seen one from the roof of the LCC. I've always looked at it through the glass.
New
Out
experience.
there. And so, I mean, it's just very interesting to
Hopefully
hear
tomorrow's
these
the day.
great stories from Bob Seek. Is truly, you can't write about the NASA manned space program without his name in it for sure in there. So, so we're having a lot of fun this week, and I see a couple comments that they're enjoying our drop-in guests here. Hello to you, says Steve Jokums up at Lake County Spaceport. Mark, Marty, Dan, and John, and all my Stay Curious friends. Gary Gerald's in Georgia. We got Dean Babcock, mostly parked. See if anybody's got a question here. The news media is finally paying attention. Yes, they are, Fox McCloud. And they got the story right. We're not landing. We're not orbiting. We're just taking a nice little cruise and doing a U-turn behind the moon about where Ophelia is, 5,000 miles away. Hey, Ophelia. She's in Toulouse, France. Or we could look over at Hawaii. It's about 5,000 miles away from here, right? You're the flyer. You know your distance is better than me.
They fly different routes.
Yeah, they fly different routes
They're
indeed.
curvier.
Anyway, I'm not making light of the fact this is a very dangerous mission, and I love analogies. And if the Earth is an 8-inch globe, the International Space Station is a quarter of an inch off that globe, 250 miles, and the moon is 25 feet away. So we're going from a quarter inch off the Earth, where we basically been for over 50 years, except for Jared Isaacman's trip to 850 miles above. But we're going from less than an inch off the Earth on a scale of the Earth's an 8-inch globe to the moon, a 2-inch globe, 25 feet away. This is dangerous. This is fraught with peril, and yet I love these astronauts for their bravery, and particularly the commander talking openly about some of the issues that everybody talks about, the heat shield and stuff like that. What you guys got a comment about the excitement going on? Go ahead, John.
Comment I have, I listened to an interview from the commander yesterday and the rest of the crew, and he emphasized that this Artemis 2 mission is a test mission. And everybody should be aware of that. There's things that they haven't done. Number one, they haven't manned the spacecraft yet, Artemis. And this will be the first time that there's a manned crew. So it kind of reminds me, Artemis 2 reminds me of a combination of Apollo 7 and Apollo 8, where, of course, Apollo 8 orbited the moon. Artemis 2 is just going to do a flyby. But they're going to be manned for the first time, and there's a lot of things that they have to prove before they can go on to Artemis 3.
Absolutely. And Jared Isaacman, our NASA administrator, is drawing a lot of Apollo analogies on there. But what's your overview comment, Daniel? You've seen a lot of launches, and tomorrow's going to be pretty intense.
Yeah, I'm sure the launch itself is going to look just like Artemis 1. But what's going to be on everybody's minds is that there's 4 people up there this time.
Mm-hmm.
And it is test flight. It may or may not. It might never leave low Earth orbit if some test fails.
Yes, good point to make. Absolutely.
You know.
They're Oh, I should have put my slide up there of who's orbiting Earth right now. 10 humans orbiting Earth right now. Okay, 3 on the Tiangong Chinese space station and 7 on the International Space Station. 2 women are up there. Okay, we've got Jessica Meir and the rookie from France. Her name just escapes me.
I was going to tell you.
Yes, but so hopefully we'll have 14 people, maybe not orbiting Earth, but out on space. But absolutely true. There's a 1-day checkout almost in Earth orbit. They're
That's right.
rendezvousing with the spent second last stage that got them up there. They're doing some maneuvers to test the maneuverability of it, and then the Orion spacecraft itself has the translunar motor on it, translunar injection motor on it. And so the 5th day is when they'll be the furthest away. So that's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So Monday will be the big day when, and you know what NASA's promised to do is take us with live videos as much as they can. Have you all heard that?
Yes.
Yeah, that's good in there.
It's gonna be exciting to watch.
Of course, they're using some reusable equipment, and here's a model of one that is made by Steve Jokums. It's the kind of 3D printing work Steve does. He sent Marty this as a gift, right, Marty?
Yes,
Or he sent it to me. I forget.
No, it's mine, Mark. Send it to me.
I tried. No, it's gorgeous, and there it is. The
I'm sure
scale.
we could get the file.
The SSME RS-25 rocket, 4 of them used multiple times on shuttles, and going to dump them in the ocean there. Never use them again. Nothing's reusable on the Artemis program, but that's a beautiful model. The Steve Jokums, always great. You're going to see some of Steve's model work at Shuttle Fest as he has put together a Soyuz capsule and a Soyuz rocket for us to have on display as we celebrate NASA at Star City and Americans on Russian spaceships on Saturday, June 20th. So let's look at a couple. Oh, I did the wrong thing, Marty. I pushed the image.
You're good.
Okay.
Good fixing.
I fixed it.
All right. Artemis fever hits the Space Coast. Guess what I noticed about Artemis fever this morning, Marty?
Don't know.
Gas jumped 25 cents.
Womp womp.
$4.25 here now.
But it has nothing to do
Hanging
with
on to
Artemis.
$4. Pardon me?
It has nothing to do with Artemis fever, though.
I don't be so sure.
Extra out.
It doesn't have to do with Easter coming up, I'll tell you that. But it is, of course, the war going on. We know that. But come on, open up the spigot on those reserves we've got. They're supposed to keep our wallets a little tamer there. But over $40 to fill up my vehicle today, and you know, so anyway, it is what it is. Traffic picking up. You guys been out to Space Center? I haven't. What's it like out there?
Well, right now it's not any busier than it normally is. Definitely pays to show up early, especially if you want to go by those exhibits in the Atlantis building where all those manufacturers are represented that contribute to the Artemis program. If you get there like right at 9
So
o'clock.
under Artemis, or so under Atlantis, they have tables set up like a trade show that I've been to before with.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's cool.
They got a little simulator where you can dock the Orion with something. I think it's the gateway that
Yeah,
they're
they're-
using, even though
I know,
that's gone.
yeah.
But
Hopefully the
Yeah.
Starship or the Blue Moon one
Right.
day.
but you can fly that thing. It's a lot of fun.
Did you do it? Of
Yeah,
course.
yeah. I was a
Did-
star.
You're good.
Yeah.
You're good. Of course, he's good at that stuff. This gentleman has flown a Soyuz spacecraft at. You took and put your hard-earned money down to be trained as a cosmonaut. Go through the cosmonaut experience, right?
Yeah, it was a brief training experience where we flew the simulator. We flew in a Vomit Comet, a small jet. That was an L-39. The centrifuge. We practiced spacewalking, and yeah, that was super exciting.
Well, good. We got some great comments here. John, the Beagle Dad's on there. Some comments there. If it's scrubbed tomorrow, it'll move to a night launch. But this is all when, if you look at the moon now, the moon tomorrow is April 1st. All right, April Fool's Day. It's also full moon. All right, they call it the pink moon or the Paschal moon. Easter is the first Sunday after the first full moon that occurs after the first day of spring. Well, we had the first day of spring was Sunday, so the first full moon is Wednesday, and the next Sunday is Easter. That's why that floats around on there. But let's get a couple other things up here that we want to seriously thank Zonta International, okay, and Sandy Mickelson here. Sandy is the leader of the area Zonta International. You guys know what Zonta does?
No idea.
Well, it was actually founded by Amelia Earhart, the great aviatrix.
Wow.
And it's the only thing that she put her name on before she died. And it was to empower women and girls to make their own decisions. It is involved with sexual trafficking of women, all those bad things that happen to women, but also the good things to focus that you can be whatever you want to be. And Eileen Collins has embraced Zonta International. So Sandy's been very generous with her own personal money contributing here to American Space Museum. Look at that cool jacket she's got on there from
I like it.
Jennifer Rothblatt makes those things. Here at our women's gallery, okay, I'm going to talk a couple women here in a minute. Eileen Collins in the back. That blue suit is from Kathy Thornton. And that, by the way, is artwork from Chris Calley on the back up there. He sold that at the Shuttle Fest last year. And here is our Shuttle Fest promo. So what do you think, guys? 8 astronauts, is that good enough for you?
I think it's a nice lineup.
I've met Tom Jones several times because he's from Maryland.
Yes, and he's a big, his books are Smithsonian books, so I'm sure you have as a docent there. We've got Hoot Gibson, Susan Kilrain, and Steve Hawley coming with their book publisher, Tony Paston, and that will be interesting with their new books coming out. Hoots is already a big deal. I think Steve's will be released about the 1st of June. And we're trailering this to Shuttle Fest. We'll have a theme on Saturday, which is NASA at Star City, and then Sunday is just Shuttle Sunday. So Mike Baker was a 4-time shuttle, twice a pilot, twice a commander. Bakes is a lot of fun. Marty and I have been with him at dinner a few times. He was a director of operations at Russia. All right, launching astronauts on Russian spaceships. Of course, Tom Jones, great popular book, 135 Shuttle Stories. We're just going to have Tom tell stories. Shuttle Time with Tom is how I want to build that. Nicole Stott, the best earthling on the planet here, our great friend from St. Petersburg area. And Norm Thagard. To me, Norm is the star of our Shuttle Fest, but other people think it's his Hoot or Steve Hawley. That's fine. But he was the first one to be involved with Russia and go in a spacecraft. Bonnie Dunbar was his backup. People didn't know.
He went to Mir.
Yeah, Mir. Yeah, went to the Mir. Yeah, I said shuttle. He was on the first one on a Soyuz spacecraft to go to the Mir. And what an experience that had to be. And we're going to hear all about that. So tickets are available now, $150 for the weekend. And then we have a $75 fellowship fundraising Friday here at the museum. And we have a committee. Marty is chairing that committee. Myself and Chris Calley are the other co-chairs of this event, so to speak. And that's what I enjoy is I'm not making all decisions. I can hang somebody else out to drive for the bad decisions. Not Marty, of course. I'll throw Chris under the bus. Is Chris on there
We
today?
don't think we'll have any bad decisions.
No, we don't have any bad decisions. We are on a good roll. And right now, we know this is a lot of astronauts. I was asked, what are you going to do with them all? And I go, I just want people to step on their toes and bump into them and have a great experience. We don't have to do anything with them. You know, we're not going to have them do their biography, astronaut encounter story. We want them to tell anecdotes about the missions we point out to on panels. And I saw you with fascination listening to J.D. Bartow talking about the Astro 1 mission and the computer went down and how they solved all that.
Right.
And you guys have been to a lot more space fests and things like that than I have, because I always go to astronomy stuff. But how are we doing? You like the direction we're going, Daniel?
Yeah, it's you don't want to build it up too quick, too fast. So it is going at a nice pace, and we've got a few astronauts now, and we can listen to all their stories, preferably the ones that they haven't rehearsed. Something that comes up as we bring something
Right.
up, so you get the cool stories like, oh, this happened, and this is how we fixed it, and we had. And I remember talking to I forget who it was, but he was describing what it was like to launch in the shuttle, and there was 5 or 6 of us standing around, and we were just glued to this guy. He was a great storyteller, and we were just standing in the hallway somewhere in the reception area of some hotel,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the kind of stories we're looking
Yeah, you're talking. They'll talk to you. Didn't mention Mike Mullane. I get a phone call a week ago Friday, and the other end says, "Hi, is this Mark Marquette? This is Mike Mullane." And I said, "Yeah, this is Mark. Mike Mullane is in the astronaut. Mike Mullane." He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Well, what can I do for you, sir?" "I want to come to Shuttle Fest." He said, "Marty, how about drop my phone?" I'm going, "Holy cow, we have arrived." Okay. Because I never thought Mike Mullane would come. I said, you know what I said to him next? I said, "Mike, I know your book, Writing Rockets. I see you. I've looked at your website. You command a pretty healthy speaker's fee, sir." And to flush him out right away, he said, "Nope, I'm coming for free. I just want you to cover my expenses." And I said, like I've told everybody, I'll ask the committee if you can come. All right. I did, didn't I, Marty? I called up
Yeah.
Marty, and then I called up Chris, and we want to operate like that because we have to. I've got a terminal limit, like we all do, and we want this to be part of our history 20 years from now or 30 years from now. But you're going to miss the fun. $150. The hotel is $206 a night, discounted down from about $280 is where it's starting at right now. Hey, what doesn't people understand about these 3 words? Cocoa Beach and Hilton. Okay. Everything is like going to be awesome there. Go ahead, Marty.
These things asking, well, can't wait to rub shoulders with the astronauts on Friday. Will they be doing autographs and pictures that night at the museum?
No autographs at the museum. The pictures, yes. All right, their discretion. This was a complaint that I've heard registered. The nonprofits who give the least demand the most on the astronauts. And we're going to try to break that mold. And one is we did have autograph session here on Friday, and we made a lot of money off of it, but we'll just have to make that money Saturday at the 2.5-hour autograph session we're having. So one autograph session on Saturday afternoon, like 3:30 to 6:30 to 4 to 6:30, something like that. But I think it'd be more fun for you and the astronauts not to have to do something. There's a lot of people here. It's hard to see the displays sometimes, but why have a shuttle fest about our museum if people can't see the museum?
Right.
And see what we're talking about. You're a Smithsonian guy. What do you think of our little museum here for what we got?
I think for the size of this museum.
Could you please close that door? Thank you.
I think for the size of this museum, you guys put on a great show. But the astronauts, the shuttle astronauts that are going to be here, they'll give their talks, but take it from someone that's given tours and have been in the company of astronauts. They really like when you ask them questions because they like to tell the story, because there's a certain side that they automatically everybody wants to hear, but there's questions. Last year when I saw Eileen Collins after she gave her little talk, and I had a couple moments with her, I said, is it true that the RCS engines, when they fire, it makes a lot of noise? She says, "Oh yes." She says, when you're sitting in front in the cockpit and the ones in the nose go off, it sounds like a mortar. She says, you can even hear it in the back when they go off. It's not as loud because you're a distance from them, but you can hear them. How many people knew that?
Yeah.
It's not quiet. It's noisy. Yeah.
Don Thomas talked the other day. He felt like someone was pushing him in the middle of the back when he was lifting off, and he did it 4 times. So Don would come. He did his talk. He had the best. Everybody loved his talk. I'm not gonna say it was the best because we had so many great talks, but it's certainly up there, Marty, where he talked about the STS-70 woodpecker. You know
That was a great story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put 200, one woodpecker, put 220 holes. We have over 100 hours of video of that, he said. And I remember him saying, just let that sink in a minute. 100 hours of video of a bird destroying our tank, a lovesick bird. And, but they couldn't do anything about it because the environmentalists would go crazy if you just took a little BB gun and took care of the situation. But anyway, but he's awesome. We see him frequently because he's here on the Space Coast. But let's keep going on here. Shuttle Fest, we'll put the button on that. Thank you for the compliments of our museum. One thing I always liked, John, was, and once I got in here, is the provenance we have, the paperwork is that this is what it is. You're just not looking at replicas. When you're looking at our vehicle assembly building model, that was used in the wind tunnel test. And we've got one that's got the holes in it that the flags put in that I think I might put out instead of the one we have. But both were used in a wind tunnel test before they built it. You know, we got John Glenn's hard hat, the button that launched his rocket. We've got Norm Thagard's recumbent chair that he sat in, like a lawn chair, when STS-71 brought him back. And he said his feet were in a locker. You know, they brought 9 people back on that shuttle, two cosmonauts from the Mir. Mir. Nicole Stott's sleeping bag that she spent 90 days in.
I think my favorite thing is the articles, the binders of all the articles around.
Oh, yeah, she mentioned there. That's Jessica here, Galloway Dumont said that we've got a scrapbooks of a guy up in Detroit that kept a scrapbook of all the shuttle missions by going to the local.
Article.
Yeah, all the articles
Around the whole country. It's so cool.
But he would go, you could go to a newsstand then and get the Chicago Tribune and the New York Times and the Columbus Dispatch and Detroit Free Press and all that. And then later on, he had, as those places closed, he had the printouts of them. But yeah, good one. I've always said, Jessica, we all know the story, but what story's told among all these news clips? And they're really fascinating.
It's really cool to thumb through those. And
Dave Stange can't wait for anything. He's so excited to come here, and Dave and his wife will be spending their 40th wedding anniversary.
How cool is that?
Happy anniversary.
Yes.
Happy early.
And his wife Julie, who I've met, she will get something in return. I guarantee you for that, Dave. But they were at Shuttle Fest, and he's been at a couple of them, I believe, on there. So Cliff Watson already spending Wednesday down in Pomona, Australia. And when the clock strikes Wednesday tomorrow, the fever's going to ramp up. And
Cliff is on.
Pardon me?
Cliff is on here.
Yeah, Cliff is on here.
Hi,
Yep.
Cliff.
Yep, Cliff is on here. He's battling some medical conditions, but he has sat here 4 times and shared. It's about your 4th trip here.
Yeah, I
Stay
think so.
curious. Yeah, Jessica.
I think Ophelia answered our question. She said cuckoo. C-O-U-C-O-U. Is that the last name of who we were talking about?
No, that's French for
I don't know.
wow wow.
Okay.
Or so I don't know.
She sent us the message. I didn't know if she was
Okay.
answering what
Yeah.
we
No, I
asked
didn't
her.
see her there, but
She didn't do a comment. She sent the Facebook a message.
and this is where Marty and I are not bemused, but we're certainly happy that this has become a little social hour for a lot of people up there, just to connect. And you guys have met each other before, and that's what I'm all about. Is all events are fellowship first, and make friends, and the rest always falls into place, doesn't it, guys? So so let's look a little bit at some of the slides I wrapped up. Talk about Artemis fever hitting the coast. There's the beautiful Wiseman is the commander we were talking about there, the shuttle experienced commander, and Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and the rookie is Hansen from Canada.
Jeremy.
And pardon me?
Jeremy.
Jeremy Hansen. You have a Jeremy Hansen story to tell.
Yeah, so I was walking through the parking lot of KSC a couple days ago, and this older couple was following me, and the woman tripped over something, and she fell. So I put down my back, I turned around, and I helped her up. And then they said, "Yeah, we are here because our son is on a crew. His name is Jeremy."
Oh, no big deal. Just Jeremy.
Yeah. So
And you said, "Go Canada."
I said, well, got her stable and everything. I handed her her stuff, and then we talked a little bit. And then, of course, we took a selfie and, like, what are the chances,
That's
right?
cool. That's neat for you there. So well,
Yeah.
they're certainly going to be mixed emotions on a dangerous rocket going to the moon, but the bravery of their son to do that and fulfill his dream. The beautiful Artemis patch here. With the moon doesn't have that many craters on it like that, but we need a little landing Maria there for it there. But yeah, the idea that we're going to see the Earth again rising behind or and the moon at the same time, that'll be very, very cool on there. And we're going to podcast it. We got Mike's helping us over there to set up Mike Ronaldo help us do a live podcast. We're still got our fingers crossed, Techie, because we got to get a Spectrum router that he can plug in. That if you could help with that,
I don't have a Spectrum.
but
Let me-
because we know the tower's going to crash.
we know
out
it.
there.
We know it is.
So, but we're going to try to do it. It's Mike's idea to help us. He helps us as
Right.
Jessica has on things. So, we would go live at 4:00 tomorrow, and we'll update you on that later on there. Who likes donuts?
On occasion.
On occasion, yeah.
I try not to eat too many.
Well, that's my problem. I'll eat them on any occasion. How about you, John?
I know where this is going, and I saw it yesterday, but I know I didn't have any.
Yeah. Well, everybody's getting a little piece of the Artemis action and Krispy Kreme. We don't even have one in the Titusville area. You got to go to Melbourne to get one. I mean, Marty, open up a franchise. Come on, get loose some of that Drummond money you got.
If I open a franchise, it would not be donuts.
No, it would be a health food store. No, that one's for sale. I know you saw it. It closed up there. Now, Marty would open up a gym or a runner's marathon. Marty was a big marathon runner in his day, yep, get you an Artemis 2 donut. I think they're just doing it today, tomorrow, and Thursday. They did a Mars donut that when Perseverance landed on Mars. I think they did that. Wanted to just give a little space history going on, but this is March 31st, the end of National Women's Month in America, and we highlighted a lot of women on there. We didn't highlight these Navy women real quick. Females of the Navy, Sonny Williams, she's retired now, of course, with Butch Wilmer, took that 8-day tour on the Starliner. It ended up to be 8 months or more. Nancy, why does that say Nancy? That should be Susan Kilran. Sorry there. Susan Still Kilran. You're going to meet her at Shuttlefest. Kay Heyer is, she might be at the luncheon tomorrow I attend. And we want to get Kay involved. She's very big as a Navy woman that wants to be not with the women. She wants to be with the men. I'm equal to the men. I don't want to be part of the women in the Navy club. I want to be in the men's club. And she's really cool lady. Wendy Lawrence, we love her. Too Short. You got Kayla Barron is hid by you there, and Nicole Mann, 2 Artemis astronauts. One of those could be the first woman on the moon very easily. Nicole Mann, I understand, has got the inside track. Heidi Piper, Stefanski, or something like that is her name there. We met Heidi before. She lives in the state of Washington. She wants to come to Shuttlefest. I talked to her personally about that. And Shuttlefest 7 in 2028 will be the 50th anniversary of women astronauts at NASA.
Oh,
So guess what our theme is going to be. So look for how you come to that. We probably won't have Lisa Nowak there. Okay, of course, she was dismissed for her the love triangle that she and O'Flynn were involved in, both dismissed. O'Flynn's birthday was the other day too, by the way. So But those of you who don't know, but I don't know much about her, but she does attend astronaut gatherings in Houston, according to my sources that have seen her at some of the events there. So, but these are some of our Navy astronauts there. This is a good joke. We're looking for someone who can do the work of two men. Oh, so it's only part-time?
I like that one.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
But
But let's have a quick happy birthday here. And we don't love our women astronauts, whether they're women or not. We love them despite that. But the astronaut corps is now about at least a third women. Yes, Jesse.
Ronaldo says not a router, a modem.
Oh,
He
thank
texted
you.
me.
Yeah, all right,
Texted
thank
me.
you. We need a
We're-
Spectrum modem from somebody that I can't take mine out of my house. But
listen. I might
but,
know a few people. We'll see what
happy
we can find.
birthday to three-time astronaut here, Patrick Graham Forrester, born March 31st, 1957 in El Paso, Texas, but grew up in Springfield, Virginia. Over a third of the astronauts been born somewhere but grew up somewhere else. But hey, you're 3 or 4 years old and you ain't got a choice when dad gets transferred over to Springfield, Virginia. But that's Springfield, Virginia. Is that a Washington, D.C., Arlington, Virginia area, or is that more in the...
Springfield sounds like it's near Dulles.
Okay, that's what I thought in that area there. 4 spacewalks totaling 25 hours. That's why he's on his 40 days in space on STS 105, 117, and 128. And here he is in space. International Space Station on 3 flights, hard hat spacewalker. He's a West Point graduate. Served as a platoon leader. Fort Rucker helicopters. I've been to Fort Rucker. There's a neat little museum to helicopters there. And he went to get his mechanical and aerospace engineering degree at the University of Virginia in Charlottesville, Virginia. He's a graduate of that, just like Bob Seek, Mike Leinbach, and Kathy Thornton, astronaut, are all graduates of the University of Virginia, and therefore Cavaliers. So happy 59th birthday. Yeah, 59th birthday to Pat Forrester there. And an odd bit of history as we're thinking of going to the moon. The first artificial satellite was put around the moon on this date in 1966, chalking up another first of many in the moon race between USA and USSR. The Russians launched the first satellite to orbit the moon on March 31st, 1966, Luna 10, and it played the first music from space. Now, they waited for it. The undeclared moon race between USA and USSR was heating up after this. All right, this was right at the end of our Gemini missions. They'd not launched a mission in 2 years crewed, but they put something orbiting around the moon. We hadn't done that, and we'd have to do that. So they had some good, engineering data on that celestial mechanics. But here's what they did. No cameras were aboard. How can you put something orbiting the moon without cameras on it? I mean, but they did. But it discovered lunar mass concentrations that affected gravity, which we should have paid attention to because that threw Apollo 11 off 3 miles. But they sent a message to the Politburo Congress in Moscow. The communist anthem, the Internet, or Internationale, was immediately broadcast live to 5,000 people in this huge room in Moscow. They went wild. All right. It was revealed when it went into orbit on April 3rd, 1966. It was revealed decades later. Of course, we learned all this stuff that the Russians staged stuff. Decades later, we learned that the transmission, though from Luna 10, wasn't live but recorded from the lunar orbiter the day before. And this followed the first self-landing on the moon in February 1966 of Luna 9, which bounced a few times. Some petals came out, threw a bunch of medallions out across the moon's surface too, and took some pictures. So here we are. Apollo 11 went into orbit. Luna 11 went into orbit in August 66. So right away they put another one in orbit, and it had cameras. but America's Lunar Orbiter 1 was their first, beat it by a week to take the first photos from lunar orbit on there. So there's some space history talking about the moon and an astronaut there. I saw astronaut Randy Bresnik doing some Artemis PR last night. You familiar with Randy Bresnik?
Yeah, I saw him the other day.
Did you?
Yeah, it's Relis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a real.
There's some. We'll be there tonight. I was there last night. He's got the inside track to be a moonwalker, is what I'm understanding. Did you hear that?
Yep, that's right. It's like, yeah, and then so we talked briefly, shook hands, and I'm thinking by myself, I might be shaking hands with the next moonwalker right here. Randy's a really cool guy. I met him for the first time in Kiev, Ukraine, because he has an adopted son from Ukraine.
Oh, what a bond you guys had right away then.
So
Huh?
yeah, it's a nice icebreaker.
Yeah, nice icebreaker. Yeah.
So yeah, he did a presentation at a place called the House of America in Kiev. So yeah, and I was
saw it? No.
I was sitting right next to it.
All right.
Yeah, he brought a Ukrainian flag and everything that was flown in space, and yeah, it was just really cool to have him there.
Well, you've got a lot in common with astronauts, being a pilot on the Spirit Airlines. And how is airline business?
It's very dynamic.
All right. A lot of moving parts now with the TSA thing and the price of everything going up. It's got fuel, of course.
Well, there's a little TSA issue, but it's all the airports being so busy. I think it's mostly driven by the fact that we're on spring break.
Right.
Although the other day in Houston was the first time that I saw the security line start at baggage claim downstairs and had to go up the stairs and then go in line a little bit more. And I talked to a guy later on, and he says, I was in line for 2.5 hours. And I go, well, that's not bad.
Really?
Well, but you compare it to 4 hours somewhere else, you know.
As you're in your snappy little outfit there, walking by, ready to go fly the airplane, buddy. I love that.
Yeah, it's nice to bypass all that.
Yeah, you do get to bypass all that. What kind of security do pilots go through? Are you screened every time you get on the plane, or is there just a regular badge you do here? Over here.
I got it.
I was just wondering.
I can't really go into too many details about that.
Well, I'll get a few drinks in you at Zarellas tonight, and we'll talk about it.
That's Stay Curious After Dark.
Yeah, Stay Curious After Dark. Ooh, listen to that. Well, I respect that, of course. We just a lot of our viewers do fly, and they may have a question about that. All right, let's see what else I got racked up here. Oh, this is what the Russian did there. It's a big deal. All right, we hadn't put anything in orbit. Of course, the big deal is the retro firing of the engines have to go right to slow you down to be captured by the lunar gravity. And I don't know if it's still orbiting the moon, or did they? I doubt if they did direct it in to crash it to get it out of the way. That would be a cool question. Well, let's talk about Artemis here. There's the SLS. Marty, you like that picture?
Yeah.
It's a good one. That is a picture by Nick Thomas, who sent that to me. I think he sent you that picture, Marty. I know he did. Nick was out there last night, early evening, and took that picture. And I photoshopped it a little bit for him there. But you guys have been out there and seen it from a distance, right? Impressions?
Well, it's an impressive rocket, by every definition. Lots of power. It's very capable. Of course, it has lots of shuttle memories in there with some of the components. Well, especially the engines, which were on a shuttle before.
John, you took the tour out there, I think, to see it up close.
I took the VIP tour. It was on a bus. They took us, I guess it was about 150 yards from pad 39B. And they wouldn't let us get off the bus that close, but we were able to take a lot of photographs. I guess I got about 50 photographs. It's impressive how big it is. So tomorrow, if everything goes well, I'm just hopefully I'll be able to watch in all its majesty launch.
In all its majesty, I like that.
You did not see Artemis 1, right?
Did not see.
So yeah,
Watched it on TV, but no, I did not. I wasn't I wasn't
You'll enjoy it.
okay. I'm looking forward to it. I really am.
Mark, I pulled up the launch schedule. The first window.
Yeah.
Next one's the next day, a little later. Next day, a little later, through the 6th.
Does it go about an hour later?
It's about an hour, just about an hour later.
Yeah.
An hour and a half, and then through the 6th. And if we don't get it done by the 6th, it's not till the 30th.
Okay, so with the windows is for the next 5 days, and then the 30th. And thank you,
6 days.
Jessica.
6 days.
6 days, and what was that? Oh, the moonrise tomorrow. Full moonrise is at 7:30. So the rocket is scheduled 6:24, but if it would be delayed any time, that the moon rises at 7:30, it'd be pretty cool. It launched around 8 o'clock,
It'd be real cool.
in there with people
I don't
would go
know what the end of the window is.
be losing their minds about that. The
Oh,
photographers
the
with big
photographers,
lenses
yeah.
there. Brag about some of our great photographers' work there. That's Nick Thomas, who's the astronaut wrangler out at the Kennedy Space Center for over 38 years, our good friend. And Marty's bonded with him over the years here. He's going to be involved. That is Carlton Bailey's shot of through, that is Christina Cook's view of Victor Glover talking to the media. I keep telling these photographers, I'd like to see a picture, everybody would, of how many people are actually standing around you, see?
Thousands.
And a couple hundred people. I've been in that mosh pit many times, and everybody's getting the same picture, except CB got this great, unusual picture there, Christina Cook there. And there's the crew there that he took. Reed Wiseman, the commander, Christina Cook. She spent 11 full months on space, longer than Scott Kelly, by the way, who they keep saying spent a year in space. No, he didn't. He was 11 months at NASA. You're accurate on everything. Let's say what it is. Victor Glover flew Crew 1. Okay, he has 4 women in his life, a wife and 3 daughters, I think. And I like humanizing this. Okay, these people are leaving their loved ones here. Imagine your 3 little girls, seeing Daddy go to the moon there. And Jeremy Hansen, I don't know about his personal life. If he's a bachelor, it's about to change for sure.
He was on a cruise.
Christina Cook, she's married, that's the T-38s in the background when they came in over the weekend there. Close up there. Thank you for being out there, Carlton Bailey. Doing a good job. This is the standard protocol to go out there and shoot these shots. And of course, they've been in quarantine now since they left Houston. There you are, a couple fun pictures with you and our UCAC
That's right. Yeah.
camera situation there with Bob Preston and Steve Nolte's help there. Bob and Steve did the yellow box there. That's the Radio Shack sound suppression. There, you 2 guys are somewhat shutterbugs. How do you like our little UCAC display there? That about $4,000 lens and Hasselblad there.
You know that.
You don't see that in any other museums, what I hope.
No. This is a first for me. I mean, maybe you have, but I never have seen it anywhere like that.
But I got a couple pictures. How'd you like this lady, Joanne Morgan?
Oh, she was very cool, very interesting. It was really cool to meet.
She was the only woman in the Apollo 11 launch control. Right. And in fact, some of the engineers didn't want her there. They thought she was bad luck. And when she sat down, Rocco Petrone, the launch director, Debus, the center director, and a couple other big wigs come over and said, "We're glad you're here. You're the best person for this job. Do it well," type of thing. So she got the right away. She broke so many glass ceilings for management. But a personal friend here at the American Space Museum, and I've enjoyed several meals with her. We never talk about space. We talk about things like knee surgery and getting old. Really, she gave me some good advice about having my knees worked on. She said, "Put it off as long as you can, because the recovery is. If you can put up with it, don't do it."
After she left the space program, didn't she become an attorney?
No. No,
This
I
was
don't think
somebody
so.
else.
No, she's always been a NASA ambassador. Marty, no, she didn't become an attorney. She spends summers in Montana, and so we'll have her on the next year. But she did a great talk at Shuttlefest in there. And there's you with another wonderful lady, Eileen Collins. Boy, she is really something to be around, isn't she?
Yeah, she's one of my favorite people to talk to. So easygoing, and you can ask her anything you want. And of course,
And she
uh,
wants you to. She's the last one to leave. When Jonathan Ward wrote her book with her, they bonded very well. Her book, The Breaking the Glass Ceiling, which she did. First female pilot, first female commander, did that twice.
my wife is a
Now
big
her
fan of hers.
documentary's out. She's going to be here April
Mhm.
13th. And I got my tickets already. And at the Melbourne uh, theater over there at the Live Oaks or Live Oaks 10 there. And yeah, just a wonderful person. And you know what? She gets us what we're doing at the museum and really wants to help us. And I can reach out to her anytime.
Mhm.
And Chris Callie closed a bar down with her
Woo.
last weekend where they had the Space Woman is the name of the documentary there, and they put a slide in there. And just to brag about you being here, but also the people here, there's you talking to Don Thomas as he was signing his book there at Shuttlefest last year. I see Bharat and Mal Ramanujan in the background there with, oh, I see just over your head there is Rama. John, let's get you in the action here a little bit. You showed me this picture you took about an hour ago up there.
I took that photograph at 1 p.m. about 2 blocks from here. Just walked
Yep.
right up to the river, and that's not any kind of fancy camera. I took it right off my phone. So tomorrow, that is a great spot. If you can snag it and get here early enough and get a spot, that's a great spot to watch the launch.
Yeah.
I'm convinced.
Yeah. Oh, it is. And I'm sure the bridge is going to be shut down and they'll have people all over that bridge. But the interesting thing is once it leaves the launch pad, everybody's looking up. Okay. So if you're just with anywhere you're at, you're going to see it. Go ahead.
I'm gonna steal the mic, Marty. I used to work for the chamber, and so I'd be downtown during the at the Welcome Center, man in the booth, while people were coming and going. And I used to say, if you can see the river, you can see the launch,
There you go.
because it's right out behind me at this window. So I would tell anybody that was coming to visit, I'd tell them to come over here to the Space Museum and look across the river, straight east.
Now, that's true. Now, hey, Trekkie Techie there. You know
Yeah.
where we met, right? Do you remember when we met?
It was at the Space Museum. It was at the chamber, wasn't it?
Yeah, but what event? I
Where
can tell
did
you
we
exactly
meet at
where
the
it was.
chamber?
It was at the Garden Club.
It was at the Garden Club when
And
I was
you were
the
doing a noon
sponsor.
lunch special
Yep.
thing, and
Cheap
your
development.
cheap development.
I was
sponsored
hustling
that.
my side business there.
And I never
website
seen
design,
you before.
social
and then
media
when you
management.
sat down, I said to myself, I said,
We're
I
gonna
think
talk to
that's the
her.
person that might be able to help our museum.
And then here we are, 5 years later, almost.
6 years.
Is it?
6 years. We celebrate our 6th year. We're
Right.
up to 1,489 episodes.
I didn't tag along until a year in.
Well, you know,
Yeah, we'll count it.
I struggled around a while, and then I knew I needed somebody like you to take it to the next level. So,
And we did.
And we did. We certainly did. And we're proud of that. 4,500 people following us on YouTube. Nothing to sneeze at, you know. It's not mega numbers like some people, but we are what we are, and we love it. Wanted to just a sad note that I did a show on last week is this man Dan Karate died. He was our model builder through AARP. AARP supplies people for us, and found out he could do models, and we needed some repaired. And he had a heart attack and died, and his fiance was in the building today. And I told her I'm leaving his little workspace like it is for a while. They're going to do a little tribute to him in a week or so. But she was just amazed at the models that he built. And she said, now I know why he couldn't wait to get up in the morning and go to work. I couldn't imagine why he was so anxious to go to work. He loved doing this. And we're going to miss you, Dan. It was really shocked to our family here. He did not work for us. He was a volunteer. He was an AARP, and we get as nonprofits help from outreach agencies that supply us with receptionists and so forth like that. So rest in peace, Dan. But you wanted to meet him today because you're a modeler, John. That's why I threw this in here.
Every time I come to the museum, I like to stop by and talk to Dan, and he and I have an interest in modeling. And I was very sad to hear that he had passed, and we have spent hours talking about building models, and he was very good. He's got some on display back there. He did a great job.
Yeah,
really.
we're proud to put him in.
Beautiful work.
And I said, Dan, you know, the people are going to beat us up because the colors aren't the exact colors and so forth. And we're going to put on there, the colors are for representation purposes only. And he was just about to turn that knob up a little bit where he was going to he was looking at books and seeing what some things look like. But that's, of course, a Vosk spacecraft. The first 6 cosmonauts flew in that. And it was basically the Vosk Hod for 2 missions there. But yeah, a good guy. He was a biker. He loved mechanical stuff, worked on cars, motorcycles. And we're honored that his fiance is going to have a little remembrance of him here on April 11th. So just like I said, this is back. I looked over there every day. In fact, I always come in the back door and talk to him and go around and talk to our staff, make sure everybody's on the same page or have some complaints for me. So that's in there. So there's a picture. I haven't taken many pictures of Artemis, but there's one I took from 9 miles away that you'll see it going on there. Chris Marie has got his camera set up out there. He's down here. We'll have some pictures from Chris Marie to show. There's a sunrise. Talking to photographers like Mark Usiak was here yesterday, Carlton Bailey. NASA's done a good job of having people go out there for the sunrise. They had several sunrise buses out there. They also had a couple other opportunities where people could shoot
One of those good pictures.
from away. Yeah, that's right. Marty, did you have something to talk about over there? Was it okay? Because we're coming to the end here of this conversation with everybody for Artemis Fever. There is the crew again. When this was at the, I think the orbiter was still at the ONC. Is that where it'd be, Marty? The Neil Armstrong Center there, they call it now.
It's about 1 day.
Cool picture of them.
1 day, 1 hour.
They've been in and out of this spacecraft now for over 2 years, so they know it very well, and they're probably ready to get those orange suits on and get on with it. So again, the schematic of it, they're going to spend almost a full day in Earth orbit doing some testing. The maneuverability of the spacecraft is key. They're going out, I think, about 3,000 mile loop. Okay. And so they'll have some dramatic views of the Earth. That'll be, again, since the Apollo era, the furthest far away from Earth anybody's been to see it.
Yeah, it's going to be.
And NASA's channel yesterday said we're taking our American taxpayers along with us. Okay, we're going to have plenty of video of stuff going on there. So
It's going to be interesting to see the quality of, I mean, you're going to get so much better quality compared to what it was before.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the quality with the 4K GoPros
They're going hard.
attached to everybody on everything
It'll be
there.
like we're sitting right
And
there.
then they'll take the
Yeah.
3-day trip out. So if everything goes well, they'll spend Wednesday and part of Thursday in orbit, and then they'll take off to the moon for 3 days. And like I said, it'll be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. The 5th day is when they'll be where the green arrow is. The NASA itself says that they admit that they're going not that close to the moon. The moon will be the size of a basketball at arm's length out their window is the official NASA thing there. So the moon will also be a thin crescent, not quite 1/4 phase. It'll be just under that because it's going to be full when they rise, and they're looking at the back side of it. So there's not going to be a whole lot of light. What you see on the right side 3 days later, the darkness, that's the light that they're going to see on the other side. So I'm wondering how much they'll see the backside in the darkness because there's no earth shine there to like a mirror. Like on there. Yeah. You guys have any? And a lot of people didn't even know 6 months ago that they weren't landing on the moon or weren't orbiting the moon. But the cat's out of the bag, and we've been talking about it, and it's to test the deep space of this. You guys have anything to say about this, John?
Well, the last thing I want to say is I'm looking at the official countdown right now, and it is 1 day, 1 hour, 19 minutes, and 22 seconds to launch.
Ooh, wow. And 24 hours ago, we had to end with MarQ so we could get out and watch one of those Falcon 9 rockets take off with the Starlinks up there. So, yeah, it's we're going to have a big time out there at Spaceview Park tomorrow. It's going to look something. Well, there's the catwalk out to the White Room that they'll take, I don't know, 3 hours before launch. They've already fueled it up twice, had 2 wet dress rehearsals, and they didn't do a third one. Part of the reason is the integrity of these tanks can't be filled and refilled all the time. So fingers crossed that all those things are fixed. And there's the launch in November of 2022. Over 3 years ago, the after midnight launch that MarQ took that picture there. So got Norman Wood watching. Thank you, Norman. Cliff Watson down in Australia. It's Wednesday already there. Fred Kilner, John the Beagle Dad, Tom Usiak. You know Tom. So we'll see his brother Mark tonight at our little gathering. CT Cubing, another solid Stay Curious watcher that we picked up last year. And a bunch of all-stars that have taken us, and I mean this sincerely, to the next level. And that is Dean Babcock, Tom Celentano, Carlton Bailey, Doug Forrest, Fox McLeod, Gary Gerald, Mark Fell, mostly Park, that's Marion, a man named Marion, Steve Jokums, Ophelia Salterell, Dave Stange, and Rosalie Jubilee.
Sounds like you got the whole gang.
We got the whole gang here. We've got, show you what the mayhem will probably be out there tomorrow. Not like this, but there's another look. How close you are to the rocket, okay? And what a beautiful park it is. That's what it's going to look like tomorrow at 6:30 or 6:15, okay? And we're going to be somewhere in that mosh pit, hopefully. And another beautiful picture by MarQ, all right? Walking around yesterday, there you got the rocket in the background and boaters on the Indian River here. So Godspeed, Atlantis, Artemis 2 there.
Absolutely.
Godspeed.
And what, you guys got any parting things to say? You're going to be watching it from where?
I've got tickets, and I'm going to be at the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Center tomorrow watching this launch. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be 8 miles.
Rumbly.
Pardon me?
You're gonna be rumbly.
Yeah. Now, did they sell a special ticket, or because we have season tickets, they let you in with that?
They had.
No.
I am an annual member, but you couldn't get in tomorrow to see that launch with that annual pass. You had to buy a special ticket, and they had 2 levels. One was $250, and that takes you to the Saturn V Center,
Okay.
where you'll be 3 miles away from the launch pad.
You said that sold out within hours.
That sold out in minutes.
Minutes.
And so I went, they immediately put me into the queue for the $99 ticket, which I was lucky enough to get. I was actually riding in my car to a doctor appointment, and I was driving and looking at the queue, and I was like, I hope I get to the parking lot.
Now, wait a minute, John. Marty goes out there 5 times a week. I'm out there 5 times a month. So even our $125 ticket, we have to buy another $100 to get on the property.
That is for this launch. They're shutting it down, and the only people that can attend the launch tomorrow are the ones that bought these special tickets.
How many they sold,
specifically.
Marty? 5,000?
8,500.
8,500?
Yeah.
Oh, wow!
Just imagine the line.
And the $250 ticket. Well, first you got to buy a $100 ticket to get in.
Oh, wow.
Then it's $250
On
to
top
go
of
out to the
it?
So
south
it's
side.
actually $350.
Oh no.
And they sold
But
out.
And of course, Kennedy Space Center Visitors Complex, the #1 tourist attraction in America. I think it was 3 in the world last year. All right. And that's huge when we got the attractions of Universal and Disney just 50 miles behind me here. By the way, did you go to Comic-Con? Oh, okay.
I ain't got no time for that.
Well,
Not right now. Spring break.
she's getting
testing
old, isn't
season.
she? Yeah.
You know,
See, that's
spring break testing season.
Come over here. Get you on camera here, Deb. Yeah, get you over there. There's Trekkie Techie.
No,
Kiki,
it's
otherwise known as Kiki Badass in
Yep.
the gaming world.
it's testing season, and I'm helping out one of the.
Tell
other-
everybody what you do. You're
I'm a IT tech at an elementary school at Robert Louis Stevenson Elementary School. I also have my own business, Cheap Development. Hashtag hatching dreams into reality. Do website design and social media management. Help out the Space Museum here. And so I did an away mission today. I was over at Apollo Elementary helping out my friend over there, doing some stuff, getting ready for testing. And I got a yearbook deadline that's happening in a week. So I'm not doing anything extra except working. That's all I do. And I fixed Streamlabs today. Yep, fixed the
Awesome.
stream. You got new buttons. The buttons work. So that's
we do.
really great.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
couldn't do that without her bringing it to this level, and it's been quite a journey. And it's like we love you for everything that you've brought to us, and you're truly part of our family here. And we don't see enough of you, but sometimes
why I
that's a
swung by
good.
today.
Sometimes that's a good thing. You know?
Listen, you take your Venus.
Yeah.
You take your Venus.
Yeah,
your
right.
genie.
You brought me a Venus to clean my spectacles with there, and that
Yeah,
does
the
it.
Facebook
We did
ads.
we did a program on Venus Friday, so that's
Oh.
exactly what Magellan looked like Venus there.
Yeah, the
so.
Facebook ads got to me. Jinkies, if you want to sponsor us, just drop in the comments.
There
We'll
you
hit
go.
up.
There you go. And well, thank you everybody for watching today. Okay, big day. This is what we live for here on the Space Coast. Of these moments. We're hoping that the cadence of Artemis picks up more than every 3.5 years, of course, and it is under the leadership of Jared Isaacman that they realize we've got to have these goals in Apollo-style baby steps. So
If all goes well, then Artemis 3 is in about 10 months.
about 10 months, and that's going to be Earth orbit, kind of Apollo 9,
Correct.
hopefully testing the lunar landers in orbit.
Yeah.
Thank you, Daniel DeJong and John Gregorowich.
Thanks for
there.
having me.
So part of my joy of at this museum is making friends with people like you. And I mean that sincerely. The more we see about you. I like your shirt too, by the way.
Thank you.
John's got a cool mixed Artemis
Orion.
Orion on there. Is that one of those Kennedy shirts at the business?
I didn't get it from Cape Kennedy. I did get it online, and
Anyway.
the company escapes me.
Well, thank you all
They can
for
sponsor us,
enjoying
too.
our show here today. Kind of shows I like where we're talking to a lot of different people about what we love, space. And boy, we're going to get our rocket on tomorrow. And like we said, Godspeed Artemis 2 and all the astronauts and all the people, the thousands of people they've been working hard on this Artemis program. Here is the big reward, particularly you Orion people out there. We've been waiting, I'm going to say how long, but it's been a pretty long time to put some people on there. So, Marty, you got some parting shots. You said to me, why don't you go out and tell me what is special about you witnessing this launch?
Well, this will be the first time we were sending a crewed vehicle to the moon that my fingerprints are not on the vehicle.
We gotta go touch it.
Think about that. Marty Winkle worked on the lunar module. Some of his great stories are being in the lunar module while it's on the pad and swaying back and forth, changing out batteries or whatever you were doing there. But yeah, he's going to witness his first launch in the parking lot of the LCC there. And the first time something's going to the moon crewed that he hasn't had his fingerprints on it. His gloved fingerprints.
Glove,
let's
of
say.
course, always glove.
That's right. That's right. And that's cool. And that's a good thing to go out with. And thank everybody for watching our program today. Thank you all for being part of it. And our museum staff will be busy tomorrow. We're going to try to go live at 4 o'clock from Spaceview Park. We'll give you a heads up on that, how we're doing on that. And until tomorrow, I'm Mark Marquette saying we can't wait for Artemis the SLS to launch so we can bridge the space
between
between
us.
us.